Hi guys. I'm pretty sad right now. I'm actually incredibly sad to be making the final lesson video for you guys. And now my baby whales are going to leave the mama whale and you guys are going to leave the pod. Yeah, but I'm actually extremely happy that you guys got this far. Honestly, I'm completely overwhelmed with emotion right now because you guys have made it through 16 really important lessons. And the way that they were structured, I honestly firmly believe that it is literally the best content in terms of learning how to trade. It's incredibly structured. The people that were new to trading that had no idea what the heck trading was, if you guys actually made it through the entire lesson video, I've got no doubt in my mind that you guys are now, you have a lot more experience under your belt and and that you just simply know so much more about the market and what technical indicators are. And I bet you that if you had to have a conversation with one of your friends that knew nothing at all about trading, they would be blown away by the amount of immense knowledge that you have gained in such a short period of time. Okay. Now, guys, don't get me wrong. You're not going to have to watch this once, twice, three times. You're going to have to watch this four or five times to really understand what I'm talking about in a high detail. Because you have to admit that it went from like, you're revving very, very slowly, then all of a sudden you're like at full RPM. It literally went from A to Z very, very fast, right? Where the beginning was very slow paced, but all of a sudden, right, it picked up and astronomical amount. Like it just went from very basic to intermediate to kind of really advanced really quickly because that's where what happens when you move up to, for example, lesson 14, 15, and 16, especially, guys. So let's get on with it. I am so happy that you guys have gotten to this point right now, guys. I remember back a few years when I was learning all of these topics. I kid you not, that I've learned every single one of these topics through every single YouTube video that was available for this time period, right? I kid you not. I devoured every single video on YouTube and every resource I can imagine on reading, and so many books as well. And I highly recommend that you guys definitely watch a lot of YouTube videos as well. I took all the bad videos and said to myself, okay, this is what I'm not going to do. And I took all the good videos and made points and said to myself, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I like this guy right here. And now we are here, guys. Take a deep breath. I really want to give you guys an applause, okay? I'm so proud of you guys, and I don't mean that condescendingly or patronizingly in any way, okay? I'm so proud of you guys for making it to where we are right now. And for the people that have paid you guys the $200 for this course, ask yourselves, was it worth it, right? I personally believe that this for $200 is a steal. There's nowhere that you can actually access this type of information for this type of cost. So I know for a fact that you guys probably feel like you got your money's worth, right? Because it was very structured. It was created from from a professional trader. But what is a professional trader, right? A professional trader is who? What? Someone who works for a firm, someone taught by somewhere formally. Am I a professional? I've sure made a killing in the market. Is a professional someone who works at an office, at a firm, at home? Someone who just does it full time? Someone who has had success? I think that a professional trader is anybody who's had really good success in the market, and someone who can easily translate what they know to someone who doesn't know as much and make it very easily understandable. That's why I personally believe that for $200 that you guys definitely got your money's worth because you know what? $200 for this course, you guys could have easily purchased it somewhere else for thousands of dollars. So let's get into this, guys. I'm so excited to be doing the very last lesson video before we get to the very last one. My strategy, RSI. And you guys are going to love this strategy because it takes everything that we've learned and we compress it through 16 live trades over 2.5 hours of trades that talk specifically about this strategy and how it would help you succeed. And you guys can actually see proof in the pudding. And guess what, guys? In these 16 live trades that I recorded for you guys, I was profitable on every single trade except for one. There were 16 back-to-back trades that I took over a few days. Or actually, it might have been 2-3 weeks because I was also trading normally as well. Not for this video, right? For my normal YouTube, but these videos are specifically for you guys that the public will not see because you guys are my students. This is a formal lesson package, and you guys are going to have exclusive access to it. So I lost literally no trades, right? I only broke even on one trade. That's right. I broke even on one trade only. And over those 16 trades, I was up about $2,500, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less, maybe 2K. But yeah, that's 16 really good trades that you guys are going to see. Proof in the pudding. I think that 3/4 of them are long positions, where I was betting that the market was going to go up, and 1/4 of them, so about 4 of them, might have been short positions. So you guys will get a fairly good balance of all of them. So let's get into how to do Fibonacci extension and obtain targets. This is going to be one of the absolute best videos, guys. You're going to take a lot away from this video. It might be a little bit of a longer video as well, because Fibonacci retracement needed to be a much shorter video, and Fibonacci extension takes Fibonacci retracement into consideration, and we kind of package both of these into one. So let's get into it, my students. Let's talk about Fibonacci extensions and how to obtain targets, and let's start lesson number 16. I'm extremely happy to be your instructor, and I'm so happy that you guys got through these 16 lessons with me so far. So let's get into it. So because this is the very final video for a lesson, guys, I've got to crack my first joke because I'm very excited to have you guys here, and it's going to be sad to depart once we're done. So let's get into Fibonacci extensions. You guys miss me sing that, I bet. I bet you guys really do miss me sing that. I tried really hard to be serious for the entire duration of these lessons to make sure that you guys are having some sort of very professional atmosphere. The last thing that I want you guys to have is basically me in sweats and a t-shirt, as you guys can see. I try to make sure I present myself in some sort of professional way because that's what you guys are. Everybody watching this, and you guys are young professionals like me that's hoping to make an impact in this world, right? And we always have to remember that money, guys, it does not change who we are. Money just makes things a lot easier so we can enjoy the finer things in life, such as time. We all have the same amount of time, guys. You have the same amount of time as I do, so do I. We all have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's how it goes, guys, right? And the last thing you want to do is spend the majority of your life hustling, working really hard. Working for some corporation that doesn't respect or value who you are. What you want to do is find more freedom in life, guys. Find more freedom in life so you can have more time to do what you would like to do, to be who you are worth it, to be who you are worth. So you can value yourself, so you can cherish your time, so you can hang out with your family, so you can appreciate your family more. You can you can hang out with your dog more, or your loved ones in general, hang out with your children. I just want to see a lot more people have the kind of time, freedom, and happiness that I have. And that's why this course was developed in particular, okay? So let's get into Fibonacci extensions now without further ado, okay? So guys, let's talk about Fibonacci Fibonacci extensions and targets in general, all right? So what is Fibonacci extensions and targets, okay? So I'm just going to draw a random line here for you guys, like that. Okay, let's just say this was a wave, and it came down to the 50% level. We'll say it went to the golden ratio level, okay? It went to the golden ratio level right here. So let's just say that this represented whatever price, okay? This represented a price which is equal to 100%. So if this moved the same distance from here, 100%, how far would it move? It would move the exact same distance as this one, right? So let's say that this right here made an exact move up there. This move right here of 100%, okay, would be equal to this move right here, where it went from there to there of 100%. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to give you guys another example. So we're going to do it from scratch to give you guys different examples so you understand it clear as day. So for example, if this one retraced, we'll say it went to this time 78.6%, right? So if we drew a green box to represent the movement from here to here, which is a 100% move, if this move also moved the exact same amount at 100%, then that would mean that it moved the exact same amount with the green box to represent it. So how does this tie in, okay, with Fibonacci extensions? So Fibonacci extensions, first of all, you take the first point where the extreme points, okay? You take the first point. Remember how Fibonacci retracement, all that we did was take the first point and the second point. Well, the third one, guys, the Fibonacci extension actually has 3 points, okay, that you're going to click on. The first point is where it began. The second point is the highest point. And the third point is where it actually hit the bottom, okay? That's how you do it right there. So once again, you take the first point right here, then you take the second point right there, and then you take the third point right there. So for example, if it moved 100%, what it will actually tell you guys, for example, is this right here. Okay, let's notice how right here it says 100%. What that simply means is it moved 100% of this green box right there from there. So let's say it moved 168% now, right? 168%. That means that it takes whatever this is and it multiplies it by 1.6, right? So that's how you're getting that right there. This is 161.80%, the size of this range right there, right? So for example, if I went even higher, okay, just to give you guys a really clear-cut example, if it went to, whoa, where did it go? Ah! Okay, I'm just joking, guys. Always remain calm in the market, all right? Always remain calm. So if it actually moved to the 268 level, it would mean that based on here, this particular wave right here, it will actually give us an extension of this particular box, which was 100%, okay? So it will take that original box of, say, 100% multiplied by 261.8%, right? It did that level up there. That's what it did. Because this one equals 100%, whatever move it is, right? Let's just say that this was $100, right? This moved up $100, just as a very easy example. Then what this one would be at would be $100, okay? $100 multiplied by 261.8. So it would have moved up to $261.80, right? Equals $261.80. Let's give you guys a clear example. This one right there, what it would actually equal is, this one would have been equal to 100 multiplied by, oh, sorry, I gotta actually redo this because there we go. I just want to be able to write on it as well. This one would be equal to 161.8%, right? That would be equal to $161.80. I don't think I wrote the 0.80 in here, but I think you guys understood that part there. So that makes sense, right? So this would be equal to the $168. And this one right there, of course, is also equal to $100 because it only made a one-to-one extension. What do you guys think it would be equal to if it actually reached up to this box up here? So this is the 361.8 level. So this one here would be 361 right there. Okay, 361% more than that box right there of 100. So that's really easy to understand so far, right? So let's talk about some realistic targets and what we hope to achieve, all right? Let's look at a lot of examples so you guys will know very easily. Let's look at, for example, IOTA, okay? Let's just get right into IOTA because it was a really fun coin to be day trading and it made some really nice numbers as well. So let's look right here at IOTA right here, okay? To give you guys an example, first of all. So what you want to do, just as an example, is you want to first of all isolate the pattern, right? And you want to know where to buy on the breakout, okay? To buy on the breakout. So what you would want to do is when you enter a position right above this right here, okay? And then you enter a long position on the breakout, and we've talked about that many times. Set your stop loss slightly lower than the resistance that's now a hard support. And then how do you obtain targets? What you want to do is you take the extreme points, right? The first target would be right here, okay? Let me just click on that again. I didn't actually click on it. First target is right there. Second target is actually right there. And the third target is actually right there, right? So you don't actually have to click right on here, just so you guys know. As long as it's on the same line, right? As long as it's on the x-axis there. Same x-axis, like on the x-axis, I mean, going left to right, right? But on the same y coordinate, which is the same height. So I just got to reply to a quick friend there. So then now that you guys actually got your extensions, what you want to always do as a general rule of thumb, and I'm going to tell you guys this right now, okay? A general rule of thumb to always make is to always target, first of all, a minimum of a 1-to-1 extension. A 1-to-1 extension refers to 100 level. So I want to get the annotation right, okay? So this 1-to-1 refers to 100%, right? Extension. And we talked about that earlier. So 1 to 1.618 refers to 161.8% extension, right? So 1 to 2.618 refers to 261.80% extension, just like that, right? So it's just making a ratio. So what I always do is I always target a minimum of a 1-to-1 extension first, right? Right around here. So I targeted a minimum 1-to-1, right? I took my profit at the 1-to-1 extension, and then I went to go see how it was, and I added more to my position on the breakout. So what you want to do, if you find it slowing down, definitely you want to take some profit, right? But if it doesn't slow down at all, then you don't need to take any profit. So what you see IOTA actually do was it hit well above the 361.8 extension, well above the 423 extension. So you guys can actually double click on it. So go to your tool right here where you see Pitchfork, okay? Left click on that little side context menu with the arrow, go to Fib trend-based Fib extension right here. Make sure it's on star, and then right click, go to drawing tools. Make sure your favorite drawing tool is checkmarked. You can drag and you can drop this anywhere that you would like. Okay, you can drag and drop it like that. Mine's right there. And then after you draw these in here, you can customize it to however you like. Okay, I don't like to have my labels on the left. Left is over there. I like to have my labels on the right. Okay, that's personally how I like it as well. You can have a background like that if you want, but I don't like any of these. I like to keep it like that. I keep my background completely non-existent, right? And yeah, so you guys can see these make some pretty incredible extensions, right? What you actually see instead is you see IOTA actually make a 561% extension of this original wave right there, okay? So whatever length this was right here in terms of price, we see that this right here made a 561% extension of it. Now, I'm going to show you guys a really cool example of EOS, okay? Remember the rule that I told you? To always target a minimum of a 1-to-1 extension. And if you guys are familiar with some Elliott Wave rules, right? Elliott Wave basically says that wave 3 is often the longest and never the shortest. So what that implies is that the next big wave going up will actually yield you at least a 100% gain, provided that it does not fail. Not 100% gain, sorry, but a 100% extension. So what we do, guys, you guys clearly saw it hovering around here, right? Above the 200 EMA for days. And that was a really good example of where to buy it, right? So here, if we took a look on here, you guys clearly see that it's sideways price action, but on the actual daily chart, what we see is it going upwards like that. So we're actually getting bullish divergence, right? So that would have been the perfect place to enter a trade. So we always take, guys, we always take the lowest point first, the extreme points, okay? Lowest point first. This second point is the highest point. And the third point was where we saw the absolute lowest point that it retraced to before the breakout occurred. And then what you do, guys, is you target a minimum of a one-to-one extension, okay? You entered right there, set your stop loss slightly below, okay? Slightly below the moving average for maybe 4 or 5% loss at most, right? That's an aggressive approach. You don't want to risk more than 5% ever. In fact, I always recommend 1 to 3% at most, okay? And then you target the one-to-one extension, and you would have made yourself a beautiful 281% profit, guys, okay? 281% profit. That's right. So let's show you guys some even more examples as well, all right? So let's zoom into a lower level now, right? Let's zoom into a lower level. We don't always have to do it on a big time frame, okay? We can do it on a little time frame, for example, here as well, just like that, right? If you guys are day trading on a very micro time frame, this is absolutely fine as well, right? Like let's say you're a day trader, right? Or you're a swing trader, right? Let's go to a 3-hour chart so I can relate to swing traders as well, right? So let's say you're a swing trader and you want to actually buy on the breakout right here, okay? You want to buy it on the breakout, actually right around there. That'd be considered the breakout, right? So then you want to take, let's say you bought right there and you entered a position, okay? You entered a position on the breakout because that's clear breakout. Set your stop loss for, a little bit lower than there, up to 3% loss, I'd say. And then you take your fib extension for day traders or swing traders specifically, right? You enter right there. You take your first lowest point right there. You take the next point right there. And then you take that point right there, the lowest point, not right there on the breakout, but the lowest point there, okay? And then when you target a minimum of a one-to-one extension, and a lot of people are aggressive and they actually go for the 261.8 extension as well. I always go for one-to-one because I'm conservative, but if you guys have a more aggressive type of personality, definitely target the 161.8 extension, right? So on the breakout, right there, you would have easily targeted 161.8 and you would have made yourself a good 72% as well. But if you look at it on the bigger picture that we were talking about, that's where you would have made your 200-300% gains, right? So let's look at a lot of other coins as well, guys, okay? So this one right here, IOTA, lots of ways to go, right? That one, it's gonna hit some really big numbers this year, guys. Like really, really big numbers we're talking about. Bitcoin Cash, just as an example, let's talk about it from where the breakout began earlier, okay, in time. So let's just say we took a look at Bitcoin Cash right here, and we're taking the low end, the high end, and we also take this end right there, right? What we are seeing, okay, let's say you guys are buying it on the breakout, right? So you look for the breakout, the pattern that we've been talking about. Basically, this was kind of a triangle or something like that in there, right? Definitely, maybe not a triangle, but more so like that. You'd be buying this guy on the breakout where the 55 EMA starts to fan out, and you can also anticipate it. So if you bought it right there, you would have actually entered, say, right here. Okay, let's get my drawing tools up here. You would have bought it on the breakout right above here where it starts to fan out. So realistically, right there is where you would have entered it. Set your stop loss slightly below for about 1-2% loss there. Okay, that's what I would definitely recommend doing. And then target a minimum. Okay, a minimum, because you've already entered a little bit late there, and you see, right? You clearly see that it's going to hit one-to-one extension. So if you did hit the one-to-one extension, right there, or if you were aggressive, like I mentioned, and you went for the 261.8 extension level, look how profitable you would have been, guys. This would have yielded like the most ridiculous risk to reward ratio, like that I've seen a long time, right? Like we're talking like 30-to-1 risk to reward ratio for like a 151% gain. So I want to show you guys where we usually have targets for the next wave going up, okay? So just as an example right now for Bitcoin Cash for the next bull run, let's say that we actually took our Fibonacci retracement level, okay? We took our Fibonacci retracement level right here, and we say that, okay, well, Bitcoin Cash could most likely retrace to one of these territories, which I'm sure that it will actually, right? So if it does retrace to one of those territories, and then we actually end up taking this right here, okay, we take this point right there, this point right there to this point right there where we think it'll retrace to, well, if we targeted a one-to-one extension, Bitcoin Cash is very realistically going to hit over 2285, and a possible wave target as well is going to be about $3,056. Yeah. I'm going to show you guys it on the short side as well, okay? I'm going to show you guys it on the short side of where you could have been interested in purchasing Bitcoin on a downtrend, all right? Because we also have to make sure we know how to play downtrend, guys. We can't just always play uptrends, right? We have to know where we could possibly break out and purchase a purchase to go long. So this one here is one that really did ring a bell, okay? It was incredibly close to my heart for that specific time because it yielded me a lot of profit on the short side. So let's just say we take a fib extension right here to right there to about right there, right? What we see with flying colors is that, okay, well, we're going to take extreme ends, okay, guys? We're going to take extreme ends from right here to right there to about right there. Because notice that this is the short side where it broke out on the support, right? And this is the first point right there. This is the second point, and that's the third point right there, right? So on the downside, you can take your extension like this, okay? This is on a 2-hour chart, more so geared towards swing traders or day traders. Click on the first point up there. The second point is right here, and the third point is right there, okay? So even if you don't short the market, you can anticipate a long, right? So I'm going to show you guys how you could have anticipated a long, for example, right here. So you would have shorted and also show you how you could have shorted it. So what I would recommend doing is you would short the market as soon as it breaks this line. You would have entered a short position as soon as it breaks that support. Set your stop loss perhaps slightly higher than the recent interim swing high right there for about 3-4% loss. And you could have targeted a one-to-one target and also target at 161.8% target as well right there. So if you target a 161.8, I generally recommend targeting at least a one-to-one and be very focused on a 161.8 as well. So you guys would have made yourself an easy 17% gain if you shorted it. If you did not short it, then if you notice that this particular wave right here coming down hit the one-to-one and it bounced up, and as soon as it broke down one more time, guys, to make the 5 waves coming down, you would have entered to go into a long position. So that's the importance of Fibonacci extension. So you can time as well where the actual bottom is. And where would you have targeted, guys? Remember my general rules? On the downside, once you enter, you could have targeted roughly between the 382 to the zero point 0.5 region. So if you entered into a long position, right around here, okay, you entered it right around there, definitely. Set your stop loss slightly lower than it. Sure, it dipped it back down again, but you guys actually never took a loss on there, right? Because it never even went close to yours or below your stop loss zone. So then if you targeted the 382, you would have actually been up 12.53% as well. So really easy to use Fibonacci extensions and targets, right? Yeah. So another way that we could have taken a look at this is like this, okay? I'll show you guys, okay? Now, on the downside, if we take extreme points, right, it may not always reach a one-to-one extension, okay, on the downside. Sometimes it only reaches a 78.6% extension. So let's just say that these right here were actually forming, okay, guys, right around there. When that formed, I'll show you guys a play that I took, okay? I actually did my fib extension from up there to right here to this point right there. Okay, so this was actually drawn and shown right over here. This was done already, and then that was done already. And then what I said to myself was, all right, I'm going to wait for it to break below this point, and then I'm going to find a target. So when it broke below this point right here, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to wait to see how it actually levels off, okay, for the next target. And I'm going to take my first point right there, take my second point right there, take my third point right there, okay? And what do you guys notice? That the first point right here didn't actually hit target, right? This one hit 78.6%. Now, we got a huge bounce there, guys. We're talking about a huge bounce. But now take a look at this one right here, guys, okay? From here to there, this one actually did a 100% extension, right? So because we see it do a 100% extension, that's definitely where you want to go long on it. And that's where we were really encouraging people to go long on there, if you guys remember, okay? And the reason why I took this specific point is because it's the most extreme point, right? From here to there. It's the most extreme point after it actually began to downtrend. So that's definitely where you want to focus on. Let's keep looking at more examples, guys. Examples are definitely going to help you guys learn a very tremendous amount, in my opinion. All right, let's keep looking at Bitcoin, okay? So let's say that on the very huge uptrend, right there and right there, right there, it's going to take you guys a lot of time to actually spot these top, the bottom, and the next point, right? But on a downtrend, it helps you a lot figure out, for example, where the bottom could be. So you can actually time your entries. And that's one of the most important things. So let's say that we took this point right here, this point right there, and also this point right up there. So three very relevant points. If you take your fib extension from where it began to the lowest point there, which is the opposite, right? So then to right there, we see that it pretty much almost nailed the one-to-one extension. So after it finishes the one-to-one extension, we say to ourselves, okay, well, clearly 161.8 is the next target, but you want to keep a very close eye on after it downtrends to the one-to-one extension. In fact, what I usually do is I keep such a close eye on it, guys, and I say to myself, okay, well, let's look for the next daily candle. That's going to give us a really good support candle, right? And surely enough, after it broke the one-to-one extension on the daily chart, guys, we got a beautiful hammer candle, right? Beautiful hammer candle. So as soon as it actually started trading above that range, right over here, I would have entered into a position. And the ideal time to have entered a position was definitely right there, right? It actually happened to be right at the one-to-one extension level. So you might not actually catch it exactly near the bottom, but what you're going to be able to do is use your Fibonacci extensions to pretty much time where the bottom could very well be after it hits the one-to-one extension. So the one-to-one extension, it's a very powerful thing in nature, guys, especially when it comes to Elliott waves, right? For the people that are slightly familiar with Elliott waves, you're going to know that this could have been a possible ABC extension, right? A, B, C, just down to over there, just like that. So that's how it pretty much was. And then when it finishes the one-to-one extension, just try to look for the next candle. That's going to give you a very beautiful support candle. And this one ended up finishing with a beautiful hammer candle right there. So that's definitely the time where it started to trade above that particular range that I would enter a trade. And we talked about it earlier as well, where the target would easily be, right? The target would easily be, now that we've timed our entry with a one-to-one extension, roughly between the 0.382 and the zero point 0.5 Fibonacci range, right around here. And you guys would have made yourself a beautiful profit of about 47%. Stop loss between 2 to 3% roughly. Say 3% for this guy. Risk to reward ratio of something ridiculous, right? So it's kind of awesome as well there. So let's see what other extensions we can find. So let's just say that this actually ends up becoming a wave right here, right? Let's just say that this is an official wave that has formed for Bitcoin already. So let's say for Bitcoin that these waves are already done, right? And now this is one gigantic wave. You would take it from one of these points right there to this next point right there to the lowest point right there, which was about 6K. So if we go to a one-to-one extension, you can clearly see Bitcoin possibly reaching well over 35 or 25K right there for the one-to-one extension. And also for the 161.8 extension, we see it reaching well over 37K. So I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, guys. For the long term, I really believe that it's going to hit some astronomical numbers. And if we look at it from a very short-term perspective, okay? So let's just say that Bitcoin right here is actually finding support already. I think that we have pretty much found support. But let's say that we're using Fibonacci extensions, right? We're at about, or Fibonacci retracement, we're anywhere between the 0.5 and the 618 extension or retracement right there. So if I were to take my Fibonacci extension from right here to right there to roughly right there, we see that at the 100 level, okay, it's exactly going to hit where the resistance is. So that would be a very good target, because see this cluster region right there, that's a really heavy resistance area, right? So with it being a very heavy area of resistance, last thing you guys want to do is try to ride it even further. I would recommend perhaps laddering your profits, right? You can ladder your profits just how you can ladder your buys as well. So perhaps take some off of the table, because if you do take some off of the table, and then you buy back in when it drops back a little bit lower, now you're playing with house money. And if you're playing with house money, it's a really good sign, right? Because then you're not really dipping into your own pocket to add more to your position. You're playing with house money. And then if we actually break through that resistance, which I firmly believe we will, well, the next target would be about the $13,616 target. So that's using from here to there. So it's a really easy way to get some general targets. All right, let's say you were a shorter term day trader, right, or a swing trader, and you wanted to play a specific breakout, right? So this would be a really good place to buy, because we're going to acknowledge that these are the points where the Fibonacci extensions have been made, right? So right around here. So this would be the first point right there. This would be the second point right there. And this right here is the third point. So as soon as it breaks above this resistance right here, what you would actually want to do is buy it on the breakout and enter a position, right? So then you would set your targets as well. You would go from here to right there with your fib extension to right here. And what you say to yourself is, okay, I'm going to target first of all a one-to-one extension and see how that does, right? Clearly it nailed it with flying colors. 261.8 actually shot right through it. I'm not always saying to take all of your profit at the 100% extension, right? What I'm trying more so to get you guys to acknowledge is that it's a good place to ladder some of your profits. So what you actually want to do is make sure that you're taking some profits off the table. Once again, if you take some profits off the table, it'll ensure that you're getting to play with the house money once again, right? And then if it actually never breaks past, if it never retraces heavily, right, you want to be able to ride it to the 261.8. And what we see is that it didn't even come close to finding any type of resistance at the 261 or the 161.8 level. So the next logical target for short-term day trader is at the 261.8 extension level. So we're finding a lot of very good use case scenarios. Let's look at a lot more. Ethereum Classic now, okay? So Ethereum Classic had a really nice run, as you guys have noticed. So the hardest part of Fibonacci extensions is actually spotting where you should actually be using it, right? So you have to make sure you keep back testing all the time and making sure that you guys spend a lot of your time as well figuring out where this could possibly be, right? Usually during a correction, which you guys will see me talk a lot more about with Elliott Waves, we would consider a correction like this, ABC, right? With a little bit of a slightly higher end. That would be something like an ABC down there, or even right down there, okay? So this, we wouldn't take that particular point there, but we could if you guys wanted to, but this one just makes a lot more sense, right? So let's just say we'll take this one just as an example as well. So then after we take 2 or 3 points rather, we go from here to right there, okay, and then to right there. And what you guys see very clearly is that right here, it hit a one-to-one extension with flying colors, and it just grazed as well, okay, the 261.8 level right here as well. So that's kind of cool that it hit these particular videos, or sorry, these videos. I have no idea where my mind is right now. It hit these particular extensions with very much so ease. So then what you would do is you would enter it on the breakout on the daily chart, for example, right? And keep in mind, guys, these can work on any time frame. It doesn't have to be exactly this particular time frame, right? It can be any time frame that you guys would like. So you're gonna enter, and you're gonna end up entering on the breakout right here, right? As soon as it starts to fan out, that would have been a wonderful place to enter right here. You would have set your stop loss for slightly below the moving average for a 2-3% loss perhaps. You would have targeted at least a minimum of a 100% extension. And you're also going to see that you can easily hit. Let me just have a sip of water. My throat's incredibly dry right now. Sorry about that. You'll see that it easily hits the 161.8 extension right here as well, right? So it's a lot of examples, and make sure that you guys are putting in a lot of time as well, right? I personally don't use Fibonacci extensions that particularly much unless I'm actually using Elliott Wave as well, right? Elliott Wave, Fibonacci extension, Fibonacci retracements is actually a very powerful combination. And Elliott Wave will be introduced much further down the road. So I didn't want to spend too much time on the topics of Fibonacci retracements and extensions because I firmly believe that you need to have a good grasp on Elliott Wave as well, right? So this will be the last example that I've given you. I think that we've gone through about 7 or 8 examples as well, which is definitely more than enough. I hope that this has given you guys a very basic idea because that's what Fibonacci extensions is an introduction to, right? Fibonacci extensions is actually an introduction to Elliott Wave when you think about it. And I'll be releasing an Elliott Wave class. It's going to be ridiculously long and tough to get through it. So I'm going to be very surprised if a lot of people end up going through the Elliott Wave course. And I'll be very surprised if a lot of people can actually get through as well, because I'll be teaching it like a university setting in these particular ones, right? I'm actually going to have notes for you guys to take as well. You guys are going to sit there and take notes. It'll be like an actual lecture. So I hope that this has given you guys a very brief idea of how to use Fibonacci retracement and how to use Fibonacci extensions. And this actually concludes all 16 videos, guys. That's crazy, right? The best thing to take away from these videos, guys, is honestly these lessons right here. Okay, let me just get it out very quickly. The best one to take away from these particular videos is lesson 11, 12, 13, and 14. Those are the ones that I really want you guys to focus on. This one right here was a really fun one. Lesson 13, that was about an hour and a half. And that's the one that I focus on the most. Fibonacci retracement and Fibonacci extensions, right? They'll definitely help you. I highly recommend that you focus a lot of time on Fibonacci retracements for the for the golden ratio. The golden ratio will be one of the most fascinating things that you guys will have to learn. And once it actually hits those zones, make sure that you guys are focusing on perhaps buying in that particular golden pocket zone. So this will conclude our lesson number 16 for Fibonacci extension and obtaining targets. So we always like to target generally the 100% extension level and about the 161.8. Doesn't always mean it's going to get to 161.8, and it doesn't always mean that 100 it will not simply just fly through it, right? There's a lot of times where it will simply just fly through it no matter what. So yeah, so I hope you guys have taken away a lot from these particular videos. Please make sure that you're focusing specifically on lesson 11 to 14 because that's what I focus on a lot myself as well. So thank you very much, guys, for all of your love and your support, and thank you especially for being a part of this class. And these lessons will tremendously help you down the road. I know that with 100% certainty. Lesson 17 is about maybe 3 hours long, guys. Yeah, it's about a 3-hour long class, okay? It's going to show you guys my strategy that I particularly use, and there's going to be about 16 videos, 16 live trades where I did it back to back for the purpose of these videos, and I actually went 16-0. Yeah, I broke even for one particular trade, and I profited maybe $2,000 to $3,000 in all of these videos combined, which is definitely going to help you guys a lot. So make sure you guys are reaching out to me, ask me a lot of questions because I sincerely want to answer a lot of the questions that you guys have with a lot of patience, right? And a lot of patience and respect, especially. You guys are my students. You have every reason to be asking me a lot of questions that I will wholeheartedly respect and answer with a lot of patience once again. So thank you guys for joining me for lesson number 16, which we talked about Fibonacci extension and obtaining targets in very general detail. And guys, we're going to learn a lot more about that when we cover Elliott Wave as well. So have yourselves a great day, and thank you for joining me once again. And I'll see you for lesson number 17. Bye now. Take care.